This is a video response to the Genuine Christian's video response to my response concerning John 8:58. And Yuri, basically what you did is you just laughed at the argument concerning Psalm 92 and said it has nothing to do with John 8:58. Well, again, I must ask you, in Psalm 92 in the Septuagint, it says, "Before the mountains were born, you are." If God was talking, it would be, "Before the mountains were born, I am, ego eimi." Now, my dear friend, Preto Shokmuf, just gave me a ring on the phone and said, Yuri just basically conceded the argument without realizing it. And here is where you concede the argument. Psalm 92 is just saying that he existed and still exists because he is the eternal. B-I-N-G-O, and bingo was his name-o. You understand what I'm saying, Yuri? If you're saying, before something came into existence, I am, you're contrasting something that came into existence with something that simply exists. That's the language of deity. There are so many hurdles for you to overcome, and then, Preto then basically showed me that you just basically tried to change the subject afterwards. Christ was created. Again, as I've been saying to you on my other channels, Yuri, it's interesting that no one saw Revelation 3:14 as, Christ being created until about 200 years after the fact that Revelation was written, or 250 years after the fact that Colossians was written. Again, these are not proof texts of Christ being created. I've said in video after video, the whole catesis thing in Greek is, a lot of the pre-Nicene fathers had felt that it had to do with what God produced. I have no problem with God producing Jesus. That's, eternal generation. God has always been pouring his being into Jesus. But putting that aside, and incidentally, that eternal generation was believed a heck of a lot earlier than creature Christology. Alright, here are the mountains that you have to overcome to have this be Jesus not making a claim of deity. Here are the mountains that need to be overcome. Number one, Psalm 92 uses the language of deity, and Christ echoes the exact same language in John 8:58. You can laugh at this, but it is what it is. Number two, the Watchtower got, as my friend Preto has said, it got into a staring contest with its Greek-speaking sheep, and it blinked. The Watchtower knew that seeing Christ say before Abraham was, it came into existence, ego eimi. Well, Greek-speaking people would realize that this is Christ making a claim of deity. The context of John 8. The context of John 8 is Christ saying that Abraham looked forward to his day, he saw it and was glad. And the Jews understood that as meaning, what do you mean you saw Abraham? You're not even 50. Well, again, I say to you, I did a video, not just another John 8:58 video, showing Jay Hess's argument that this is talking about how Yahweh visited Abraham in Genesis 17 and 18, promised Abraham, you will have a son next year, and on that day I will return to you. And Abraham looked forward to that day, saw it, was glad. That Jesus was talking about that he was visiting Abraham as Yahweh in Genesis 18. It's my opinion that it was Jesus visiting Abraham as Yahweh in Genesis 18. Certainly not. The early church fathers, Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, to name a few, believed that there were two manifestations of Yahweh in Genesis 18 and 19. One of them was destroying Sodom and Gomorrah from the earth, and that one was a pre-incarnate Jesus Christ. The other one was God the Father destroying it from heaven. what else? I mean, there are so many insurmountable obstacles to overcome concerning Christ making a claim of deity here. Now, you can laugh him off, you can do whatever you want, but nonetheless, you would do well to embrace the Christology that the post-apostolic church embraced, and they knew that Jesus Christ was God in the flesh and not just some created God. That's it. If you want to respond to this, help yourself. I really don't see there's not really a whole lot of other conversation to be had here. Accept it, reject it, do what you will. That's it.